Happy Devils Monday. This is The Woo Report. The Woo Report. Episode 433, titled Devils Need to Get It Going. I see people are filing in the YouTube Live, in the Facebook Live, X, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Oh, there's lots of things to talk about tonight. The Woo Report's back. I'm well rested. I've been getting 9 hours of sleep every night since All-Star break, and it feels so good. I feel revitalized. Definitely revitalized. And those that don't know, this podcast is presented by And Crew Brew. Join our crew today by going to joinourcrew.com. And February 17th, we're going to have the big tailgate at MetLife Stadium parking lot M2, as in Marty 2. And I see everyone filing in. I see everybody talking about Jack Hughes. We'll get to him a little bit later. I'm seeing all sorts of fans commenting. Michael Hay, Rags win, Islanders now, Colorado tired. I don't know what he's just misspelling words. No excuses, though. Hopefully the Rangers tired them out, because Colorado Avalanche tomorrow will be playing your New Jersey Devils, second half of a back-to-back, and the Devils are going to be refreshed. They're going to feel good. And you've got Jack Hughes back in practice, no contact. That's okay. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it was good to see Jack skating with the team. But the Devils need to get it going. They definitely need to get it going. This is the time to surge. You've got games in hand. You've got a team that's been decimated with injuries on the blue line. And obviously, and we'll get to this probably towards the end of the podcast, about the press conference, 2 p.m. Today, the London, Ontario police. We'll get to that probably towards the end of the podcast, because I have some remarks about that. But today was, a good practice. The Stadium Series jerseys coming out. So I've seen some of the Fanatics jerseys coming out. Adidas, you're going to have to wait a little bit more. I know Beer Baron's got his Nico Hischier Stadium Series jersey. Shorts guy wants to do it the right way. He wants the Adidas blank and have it sent out and have it professionally tackle twill stitched, double stitched, double stitched, done right. Because he is a purist, a traditional hockey jersey connoisseur. But I'll see. But the Devils, they have a hard team tomorrow. You got the Avalanche coming off of a loss tonight against the New York Rangers. Rangers are looking for a big push in the second half of the season. But the Devils, they need to start now. And their schedule, well, let's take a look at their schedule. Because you got Colorado tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start. Then on Thursday, you got the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames, Yegor Sharangovich back in town. Then on Saturday, You play the pesky Hurricanes in Carolina, according to the schedule here. And, this NHL app, what I hate about this NHL app? Like, it's not very user-friendly. Like, just give me the whole freaking calendar. Why do I have to pick each day? Or unless I'm doing something wrong, but it's just simply annoying. But the schedule is not going to get any easier. Then, obviously you've got Carolina and then Seattle on Monday next week. At Nashville on the second half of a back-to-back. Then you play the Kings on Thursday, February 15th, and then the outdoor game at MetLife Stadium, which is going to be it's going to have some consequences in the standings. It's a 4-point kind of game. Metropolitan Division foe, the Philadelphia Flyers. But this team is meant to go to the playoffs. It's got to start now. They can't struggle in February. There's not enough time, margin for error to kind of make it up. They need to start padding the points now. Otherwise, down the stretch, they're going to need some help to get into the playoffs. But right now, as it stands, there's game in hand. But you still have some back-to-back games that you're going to have to deal with, the New Jersey Devils. But at least Jack Hughes is practicing because they need Jack Hughes badly to really jumpstart that offense, that power play, zone entries. They need Jack Hughes right now. But you don't want to rush him back too fast because you want him for the duration of the season, wherever that may be. All right. So, I want to talk a little bit about this press conference today in London, Ontario. I watched it on, I went to the Facebook page. I actually was waiting around for the link, and I realized I was on the wrong Facebook page. I was actually the London, UK Facebook page, just refreshing that police department on Facebook, and I realized I'm an idiot. So I put Ontario. I finally found it. Did not miss anything of the press conference. It was on YouTube Live. One critical thing that, again, these are police department, police officers. It's not like they have professional speaking experience or any kind of like major media experience. But if you're going to live stream a serious case like this, you may want to turn off the chat room. Like, we got this chat room on YouTube Live going on right now, but for something like that, some of the comments that came in were pretty bad. So, did we really learn anything new from this press conference? Not really. Were there confirmation about what we've heard through the media? Confirmed it all? Michael McLeod, not charged, 2 charges. You have Cal Foote and Carter Hart and the other 2. And the press conference, the reporters were really, really getting on the police, wondering why, and these are fair questions, wondering why they didn't charge the first time, but now the second time, apparently there's new evidence now. That's what I got out of it, where they could proceed to file charges and make the arrests. But I also want to stress, and they kind of reminded me, if anybody followed the Brian Kohlberger case that's still ongoing, it's about the murders in Idaho. I think it was the University of Idaho, I believe. I think it was Idaho, not Iowa, but yeah, Idaho. And the parents, the community, the world were trying to search for answers. And the police did not give an inch. The Idaho police did not give an inch and just given vague answers, which made you wonder, do they know what they're doing? And it turned out they did some great detective work and it actually caught the suspect in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, miles away from Idaho, and were able to collect evidence and keep their mouth shut as the ongoing investigation was going. And, that press conference just kind of reminded me of that because the police were not saying anything. They were not saying anything out of respect to the alleged victim and to the 5 players that were charged, to ensure that there is a fair trial, if it goes that far, but ensure that there's a presumption of innocence, but also to the alleged victim. As much as the press conference, you didn't really get the answers that you wanted, at the very least, it didn't seem like the police put themselves in a position to jeopardize what they have in this case. So, again, this is a Devils podcast, a hockey-centric podcast, but it is part of the Devils' story this season. And, and it should be discussed. And as it moves forward, as news comes along, we'll have it covered for you. And, again, I'm seeing some of the comments, but, at the same time, again, Supernova says department doesn't seem all together. Look, I'll give the police department the benefit of the doubt in that press conference. That's not an easy thing to do. I mean, again, they're not exactly, public speakers. I thought some of the answers were weak, but at the same time, that's why I brought up the Brian Kohlberger case, because I said the same thing as well. But it turned out in that case, they were able to catch the suspect, and as that case is ongoing. But yeah, so also I'm sure on the State of the Fan address, pucksandpitchforks.com, editor-in-chief Nick Villano and I, Nick, I think, has done a fantastic job trying to cover this case, this story as well. Also, salary cap implications, and we're going to transition there. Question from Little Nicky. He's asking me before, and I just got back to him with a text, that how much are we getting back? The Devils getting back from the cap space, from Dougie being out, and now McLeod and Foote. You can probably go to capfriendly.com. I don't know if they have it updated or not. I'm assuming that the Cal Foote and the Michael McLeod deals are going to be prorated for whatever that 1 year salary was. I don't know how the numbers. Is it going to really help in the grand scheme of things in terms of, it's just cap space at this point. Does Tom Fitzgerald have something in the works? That's to remain to be seen. Because right now, where did the Devils stand after all that's happened? McLeod and Foote are out, but, the defense has been decimated. We should see DeSimone very soon. Supernovas asks, Flyers dumped Hart immediately, meaning Carter Hart. Sam, what do you think NJD will do? You know, I'm surprised they haven't done it already. Again, there's a lot of thought that's put in the process. And, you know, again, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes with this stuff. You don't know what was said. We can only speculate. But I don't like to speculate on this podcast, especially on the Woo Report. But it's a sad day, and it's a sad time, not only in Devils history, but hockey as a whole. Again, the story bothers me. It bothers me every day. Our great sport is facing this, and it makes me sad, to be honest. It makes me really sad. It makes me sad when you hear stories of sexual assault, cases being reported, but no charges are filed, not enough evidence, or whatever the excuse is to move forward. It makes me sad. It's terrible. But it's something that we have to confront. And I think the hockey community as a whole, this is the time to come together and finally get it right. And that's how I feel. As a Penn Stater, I lived through that awful period of the Jerry Sandusky trial and what happened to Joe Paterno and Penn State president, or now former president, and others, the athletic director, who I had been in contact with when I was at Penn State. And what Penn State did was really a model of how they recovered. It's a lesson that, I think a lot of organizations look to right now. They went in, they got their own investigator, and, again, I don't want to debate about what happened or whatnot, but Penn State made things right off the bat. And they quickly attacked the issue. They didn't let it drag and drag and drag. The legal process, however, is, in this case with the Hockey Canada, it may not be till early as 2026 that it'll get to trial. And I think that's the most frustrating part, because yes, the legal process should play out. At the same time, dragging out that long, just to get to trial, that's just, I don't know. That just doesn't seem, just doesn't seem right. But at the same time, you always want to get it right the first time around. Steve Engel says the NHL is ruining the sport just like sports betting is ruining sports in general. Yeah, in other news in sports, I read somewhere, I don't know how true this is, that Dartmouth basketball, I think, or Dartmouth, that Ivy League college, the players are unionizing. College sports has just completely changed since the Supreme Court ruling with the Ed O'Bannon case. landmark case. And college sports is just wild right now. You got portals, you got transfers, you got all sorts of rules. I mean, our world has changed so much in the last 15 years. I mean, 15 years ago, if you were to tell me that sports betting would be legal, I would say you're nuts. Even legalized hitchhiking is legal now, which is Uber and Lyft. Like, who would ever thought? Who would ever thought? You know, we live in such a different world right now. But Steve Engel also says, why would you guys buy the Adidas stadium jerseys? Adidas is going bye-bye in a few months, and when Fanatics takes over, there's some perception that Fanatics makes crap. POS is what they say. And I'm not talking about the point-of-sale machines. JP, I think you're making a joke. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Let's look on the Facebook Live, what people are saying. Let's see here. Good friend Michael Hay. Always in the Facebook Live. Let's see here. Let's see here. Joe English says, respect the woo. Thank you, Joe English. Yes. All right, so in other news, big tailgate. We're having a big tailgate this podcast. February 17th at MetLife Stadium parking lot. People are asking, what time are you going to get there? What time? We're going to be waiting in line at Plaza A. And then once we get through, we're going to drive right to parking lot M as a Marty, and M2, and we're going to park the big stage at MetLife Stadium parking lot. And we're going to have a great, great, great time. Also, if you haven't already, and I'll explain this again, that please sign up to our website, joinourcrew.com, because on the day of, things could change. We may have to call audibles on the day of the podcast, or not of the podcast, but of the outdoor game, where if we're not parked in M2 because security told us not to, we can email and text message blast on the spot so you know exactly where the podcast is. I know Matt is going to have some ribs. Supernova says, Sam, do you have to get a permit or something? Supernova, it's called, no, we just asked for forgiveness later. Let's see here. Mike Rosensweig says, I grew up not having Sports Channel. My folks wouldn't have it. The NHL contents laws are off the rocker. I can't watch a full season without paying $350 per month for multiple platforms. Mamma mia. You know, Mike, let me tell you something. As I am getting older, I'm like wanting to cancel everything. I'm almost at the point right now where I just rather, instead of watch the games, unless it's live in the arena, I'm at the point right now where I'm just going to listen to Sirius XM and just go to any hockey game I want, do my thing, and just have it in my ear instead of watching, just like the good old days back in the 1930s. You know, it's just everything's gotten so complex. And its media in itself is getting more fragmented than ever. It's like you've got to have 15,000 devices before you can find the game, which is ridiculous. Lil Nicky says, hi, Sammy. Hello, Lil Nicky. You know, I just want it simple where it's all in one spot. Now you've got Comcast still not having MSG networks, but you can get MSG networks through the app. Everything's through the app. We're all app happy. You know, it's going to be one day where we consume all of our sports on multiple apps on your phone and your computer, I guess. And that's it. And there's so much information out there. Just like, look how many Devils-centric podcasts have come out in the last year or two. Now, here, the Let's Go Devils podcast, we've been around since 2017 when we took the maiden voyage and we didn't know what we were doing. We still don't know what we're doing. Tom says, Sam, our bus is parking lot L for the outdoor game. Tom, that's good because L is next to M, and you just walk across the street and you can hang out with us at our tailgate, Tom. It's actually right next to M because that is our backup plan would be L in case we get kicked out of M. Because you know how the Meadowlands work. They just make up stuff and tell you where to park sometimes. Hopefully that's not the case. Yeah, Tom's getting a bus, Supernova. That's how hardcore these Devils fans are. You know. Thank you, Mike. He says, this is the #1 Devils podcast. I listen to nobody else. Thank you, Mike. Ramona says, Sam, why can't the Devils play hard like the other teams? Ramona, they will. Don't worry about that. Second half, different story. What kind of bus you're talking about? It's talking about the short bus. Let's see here. But those breakaway jerseys are garbage. Oh. Anyway, just reading off some of the comments. Max says, I want to win against Miles Wood. Lil Nicky's asking, do you think Jack will return Thursday? I don't know. I don't know why the Devils are so secretive about it. Everything has got to be hyped up. It's all marketing. Ugh. How about you just tell us? I don't know. Well, I want to thank all those tuning in to the Woo Report, dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music Prime, Audible, iHeart app. I know there's a lot of Spotify fans here that show me that they've listened 2,000 hours in 2023. And I really appreciate you, the fans. And that's why we're having this little shindig tailgate. More of a fan appreciation day. We're not charging, but I know a lot of people have been asking, if you're not charging, let me just pay something. I don't know. When we send out the email blast to joinourcrew.com, we'll have some information. Maybe some links. You can buy T-shirts from Shorts Guy. Maybe a donation link. I don't know. But, you know, we do this for the fans. We love our listeners. You guys are the best. And that's how we roll. We don't have an agenda. We may have our own beer, but we still don't know what we're doing. I-270 Outer Bell Diablo says, Avs players angry in an MSG dressing room, now planning tomorrow's game already. Max, thank you for the super chat. I'm going to like it in the YouTube Live, saying prepaid Stadium Series beer bucks, chug, chug, chug. Yes, Max will be chugging the And Crew Brew. And Crew Brew, where we make winning memories together, one crew at a time. That's right. That's right. They're looking for blood tomorrow, the Avalanche, but they're going to meet your New Jersey Devils Yes. Thank you, Dubs. He says, thank you, Sam. Devil's community growing stronger every day. M. Payne says, with the super chat, says, Tailgate Awesomeness Fund. Thank you. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. And yes, we will be serving some of that and Crew brew. And maybe Meow Meow will experiment with some and Crew stew as what Supernova wants. Maybe that's what we'll be cooking. Maybe we'll have like one of that community stew. We'll put some stones in there, and then we'll just a little bit of carrots and some beef. You know, some beef, a little Anchor brew. I'm not really a good cook. You can ask Mrs. Wu this. I don't really cook. I just eat. That's all I do. Beefalitic stew, says Max. That's a great idea. I think the song's running out. I'll put it on the loop. I'll keep going a little bit. But yeah. Devils need to get it going. They do. Till next time, let's go Devils.